Hi chemists, today is Monday, May 18th. We are working on our Unit 2 revision bundle for mini QPA 2. So this is what you look at on Go Classroom. You go to QPA 2, mini QPA 2, and then you're watching the video introduction. So good job, you're going over the bundle. And now you are gonna do steps 2 and 3 and then complete the lab. So since we can't be doing this lab in person, you are going to read all about it. And if you can, station 1, you can mix water and oil if your parents are okay with it or who you're living with is okay with it, then by all means do that. Don't make a mess. So read the background information. So it tells you all about the, so what this lab is Polarities and Properties lab. So it's telling you all about that. You are going to answer the highlighted parts. So make sure you answer these highlighted parts. So deciding if these are polar versus nonpolar. Remember what we talked about for polar versus nonpolar. Same thing with these ionic covalent. You tell me. Solubility. So even though we can't perform this lab together, you should be able to, based on what you decide, if copper carbonate is ionic versus covalent, and if iodine is ionic versus covalent, you should be able to tell me if they would mix with water or with alcohol, based on if they're polar versus nonpolar as well. So this is what water is. You tell me if it's polar versus nonpolar, alcohol if it's polar versus nonpolar. And yeah, so you should be able to do that. And then also mixing liquids. So if we're mixing oil with water, you should be able to tell me if oil and water will mix with alcohol, or with oil and alcohol mix with water, and if oil will mix with alcohol. And then finally, we have some questions here. So they're telling me, do polar or ionic solids dissolve in polar and nonpolar liquids? Nonpolar solids dissolve in blah, blah, blah. And then station 2, there's actually a video for you to watch. So it's about milk food coloring and soap experiment. It's actually really beautiful. We did this in class as well. And then you're answering all the questions. So again, make sure you're answering all of these highlighted questions. So anything under the highlighted section. And then of course your rubric. Good luck.